Every night, I sit here and knit, and I listen to my neighbor bring home a different woman, and he tells the same story about his grandma. Now he buys groceries for her, and they always laugh at the same parts. And I'm like, is he really that good in bed? Does he bring you coffee in the morning? And if you're not a coffee gal, does he bring you tea? What does he have that this middling conversation about his grandmother and getting her groceries or something is funny enough to where all of these women that he... I am so nosy. They are different every time. What does he have? What does he not have, maybe, is the question. And I will just continue to sit here and knit for the duration of the time that I live in this space. And I will always wonder what he has. And I hope to nary find out. I do not want to be told that joke, because at this point I can probably repeat it back to him. And that will be very unfortunate for me. Sit here and knit, and I listen to my neighbor bring home a different woman, and he tells... That neighbor saw my boobs. Yes, in a very real way, that neighbor saw my boobs. So that video that I posted was in my drafts for well over a year. I posted it last week, and everybody in the comment section was like, girl, this is your book talk love. This is the one. It's going to be enemies to lovers, blah, 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 blah. No. But did they see my boobs? Yes, they did. And not in the book talk way, not in the dark fae way, in the bad talk way. This is what happened. I have a window in my kitchen that looks onto the landing. Said neighbor has to go through the landing to get to their apartment. And so one day I am turning on my shower. I'm completely naked, of course. And I think to myself, while my shower is warming up, I am going to make myself a pot of coffee, because everything needs to be efficient, because I'm an eldest and a Virgo and ADHD and blah, 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 blah. And if it's not efficient, then I'm not doing it. So I'm going out into my hallway looking at my kitchen window. And then I realize I'm not looking at my kitchen window. I'm looking at my neighbor's eyes, because my neighbor was coming up the stairs and we both stare at each other. He is seeing my boobs. I am seeing him seeing my boobs. I don't know what to do. I should have gone back in the bathroom, but instead I almost make a joke at him in the moment of, hey, my eyes are up here through the window. We're both in shock, obviously. He's a very nice person. So it wasn't, I feel bad for him, because I was just staring there too. So time goes on, he goes on, I go about, of course I make my coffee. Still naked, I don't think to put clothes on after that situation happened. Of course I'm in shock, I don't know. And I think probably I have to move now, right? I can't stay here, right? I don't think renter's insurance covers that. I can't stay here, I can't. Knit, and I listen to my neighbor bring home a different woman, and he tells... That neighbor saw my boobs. The neighbor also saw me making out with a date that I didn't even like, because I was making out with him on the landing that he and I both share, and I didn't notice that he was there until the last possible second. This is the story. And before you ask, I still don't think this is the book talk way. I do just think this is the bad talk way, in a very real sense, because I am a bad neighbor. I'm a terrible neighbor. I should be evicted from my house and my body. My poor neighbor has seen so much of me in my life. I'm on a date, okay? It's a totally normie date. It's extremely boring. I am not vibing with this date, but I know this date wants to kiss me, and TBH, I love a little kiss. I love a little smooch. I love a let's just see. Let's just see is the motto of my life. And it's also why I'm divorced at 24. Anyhow, this date and I get to my apartment, and we stop in front of my door. I'm not going to be inviting this date in for this little kiss. No. I don't want to invite somebody in on the first date and for them to get the wrong impression that I just let anybody into my house on the first date and let them see my kitchen in maybe slight disarray. By slight disarray, I mean there's a singular dish in the sink. I have ADHD and OCD, okay? I have a lot of letters of the alphabet trying to explain what my brain has going on. So we're going to stay outside. And so the date goes in for the kiss. We're like 3 minutes into this makeout session, which isn't very good, but it's like, whatever, I'm kissing somebody. And this date goes for my Squishmallows. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? And all of a sudden I hear, I unseal myself from the date and I look over, and who is it that is slunk against the wall other than my neighbor, whose eyes are downcast and was waiting there for God knows how long for us to find some type of stopping place for him to be able to access his apartment. Do I move out of the way? No. Does my date move out of the way? Certainly not. They're in a dunce. So my neighbor has to slink this close to me to get past their apartment. And I say, the stars are out. And he says, good job. Neighbor bring home a different woman, and he that neighbor saw my boobs. The neighbor also saw me making out with a date that I didn't even like because I was making out. That neighbor hates me. I'm sorry, book talk. I'm sorry to be ruining your dreams, but that neighbor hates me. I was leaving for work. I shut my door. I'm out on the landing. All of a sudden, the neighbor leans over his balcony and he says, hey, can I talk to you for a second? I'm not trying to be a shitty neighbor. I'm sweating already. Shitty neighbor, are we about to have an altercation? Are we about to fight? And I say, okay, what's up? And he says, every time you shut your door, it rattles my entire apartment. What? I look at him and then I look back at the door and then I look up at him and say, I'm sorry, I've never considered the act of closing a door until this very moment. And kind of laugh a little bit because in the moment I kind of think it's kind of funny that I've never thought about it before. And he just keeps looking at me and then I look up at him and I say, I'm sorry, maybe I'm not doing it normally. I will be more mindful. I am doing it normally. I'm doing it as normal as I can for living in a 250-year-old building. Ghosts open and shut these doors more than I do. The doors barely fit in the frame. And then I run down the stairs. I'm sorry. I don't know how to end that conversation. I run up the stairs, and as I'm running, I say sorry one more time, and I hear him chuckling to himself as I am darting down the stairs, and then he shuts his door quietly. Ooh, congratulations. Your door must not be haunted. Great for you, neighbor. Then, later, my ex-husband brings my social security card over, which has been over at his house for 2 years because we've not lived together for 2 years, and apparently I've not had my social security card for 2 years. I don't know. I've been busy with other things. I've been busy getting a divorce. He drops it off, and I say, I'm the best ex-wife you're ever going to have. Trying to make a little quip, little joke. Nope. He slams the door a little bit, and through the window, my neighbor is on his landing and is shaking his head, and I have to move. I have to move. To my neighbor, bring home a different woman, and he tells that neighbor saw my boobs. The neighbor also saw me making out with a date that I didn't even like because I was making out. The neighbor definitely helped my son and I when my son was having a huge breakdown at the park, and I have no idea how to interpret the interaction or what it means for my hatred towards my neighbor, though I do still think that I hate my neighbor. And I hear you book talk and I see you, and this story is probably not going to help my case, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So, it's a beautiful day. I've been listening to Howard Shore music. I've been listening to Celtic music. I've been listening to Irish music. My vitamin D deficiency is at an all-time low because the sun is out and it is 70 degrees. So I think nothing can go wrong this day. All of my ideas are good. And my idea is that I'm going to walk to the daycare center, pick up my son, and he and I are going to walk together with his shit that he has to go to daycare with all the way to the park. A toddler walking miles to a park and then walking miles back to our house. Well, I do it. I walk all the way to the center. We walk all the way to daycare with all of his shit. And as soon as we get to the park, he is tired and hungry. I have forgotten snacks. All of his shit is with me. His dress is blowing wrong in the breeze. There's some duck that's not looking at him right. And he is having a meltdown because it is hard to learn how to do life when you're 3, I am sure. Everything is a huge deal. Everything is a huge deal. And I am trying to stave off this emotion. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with all of the shit that I have, and I feel this tap on the back of my shoulder, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't believe in God, but is he here? Is he here to save me? And I look around and it is my neighbor. And I think to myself, well, fuck, is he about to make, what is he about to say? What is he about to stand here and say? And he just says, looks like you have a lot of stuff going on. I can take some of this stuff back to your apartment. I am walking that way if that's going to help at all. And I just sit there. I'm technically on the ground with my son because that's where he decided to have his meltdown. And I look up at him for like 5 or 6 seconds, which is basically an eternity. And I say, actually, that would be really nice. So he takes my stuff, doesn't say anything after that. I don't say anything after that either. And he just walks away with all my kids' shit. And I get home and all of my kids' shit is outside of my door. So I don't know if I'm supposed to move. I don't know if I need to write a thank you letter. I don't know if I need to be like, actually, I didn't need your help after all. I really didn't. You You think you're so tall